Arvind stood on the stage, his graduation gown fluttering in the breeze. He held his diploma tightly, but his heart wasn't racing with joy. Instead, it was heavy with a question he couldn't stop asking. Is there a place for me in a world run by machines? The news was full of stories about artificial intelligence doing everything from writing code to painting masterpieces. He felt like he was starting a race where the robots had already crossed the finish line. Back home, Arvind spent his days staring at glowing screens. Every job board he scrolled through seemed to whisper the same thing. I could do it faster, cheaper, and better. He felt small, like a single pixel in a high-definition world. He wondered if his years of studying had been for a future that no longer needed him. The blue light of his laptop reflected in his eyes, echoing the cold uncertainty in his mind. One evening, his father, Rohan, sat down beside him with 2 steaming cups of tea. Rohan had spent his life working the land, his hands calloused and strong. You're looking at I like a monster that wants to replace you, Rohan said gently. But think of it like the tractor my father first bought. It didn't replace the farmer. It gave the farmer a stronger pair of hands. The tool is only as good as the person who knows where the field needs plowing. Arvind decided to visit the village where Rohan grew up. There, he met Ishan, a farmer who was surrounded by crates of bright red tomatoes. The harvest is beautiful, Arvind remarked. Ishan sighed, wiping sweat from his brow. It is, but half of it will rot before it reaches the city. I don't have a truck, and I don't know which markets need what I have. I'm growing food for the earth, not for the people. Arvind saw the problem clearly. The farmers had the produce, and the city had the hunger, but there was a broken bridge between them. He realized that AI didn't have to be a competitor. It could be the architect of that bridge. He locked himself in his room, not out of fear, but with a mission. He began to build an algorithm that could analyze market prices, predict demand, and coordinate shared transport for the villagers. Weeks later, Arvind returned to the field with a smartphone in his hand. He showed the screen to Ishan. This is KrishiLink, Arvind explained. It uses AI to see which city markets are low on tomatoes today. It also found a driver who has an empty truck nearby. If you and your neighbors combine your harvests, the AI calculates the fastest route to get your tomatoes to the highest paying market before sunset. The app signaled a driver named Kavi, who arrived just as the sun began to climb. Kavi looked at the digital map on his dashboard, which was optimized by Arvind's program. Ishan helped Kavi load the last of the crates. The app says if I take the back road, I'll avoid the construction traffic and save an hour of fuel, Kavi said, impressed. The AI was working, turning data into a roadmap for success. Arvind sat with Rohan a month later, scrolling through a different kind of data. Instead of job losses, he saw growth. Look, Dad, Arvind said. The farmers in the village increased their income by 40%. Because the AI handled the logistics, they could focus on the growing, and the city markets are getting fresher food with less waste. Rohan smiled, seeing the spark back in his son's eyes. Business grew quickly. Arvind wasn't just a programmer anymore. He was a bridge builder. He visited the village again, and this time, the atmosphere was electric. Ishan met him at the gate, no longer worried about rotting crops. We're planting more varieties now, Ishan said, shaking Arvind's hand. The app told us there's a high demand for organic spinach next month. We're finally growing with a purpose. As the sun set over the horizon, Arvind looked out at the lights of the city and the dark, rich soil of the countryside. He realized that the future wasn't something to be feared, it was something to be built. I wasn't a replacement for human heart and hustle. It was a powerful light that could illuminate the way to a better world, as long as someone was brave enough to hold the torch.